Welcome back into another episode of MnM Going Deep. I am your host, Kyle McCumber. That is my co-host, Cole Mueller. Never mind, no Cole again. It's Tequila and Kyle. Someone start counting how many episodes it's just been me. Cole had some prior engagements. He was not going to be able to do the podcast tomorrow, and I won't be able to do it tomorrow. So I said I'll do a solo. Um, some people have texted me, that listen, and they do like it more when it is Cole and I do too. Like, I really don't like talking to myself for an hour because I feel like a crazy person by the end, and I think some of you can see at the end that I look drained. But this is this is what happens. Sometimes you got to just go with the flow. But football, week 11. Week 11 was a fun week. We had some very interesting matchups, potential playoff um matchups or previews, if you must say. Let us left us thinking about what could be when the playoffs do come along. So I'm gonna just name off my top five teams in the NFL right now. Currently, as it stands, I think we all need to talk about the Detroit Lions. What the story is coming out of Detroit. That team looks very, very good. Jared Goff had a down week against the Texans on Monday Night Football 2 weeks ago. Bounces back with a five-touchdown performance against the Jaguars this week. It might have been four. Just, you know, let me roll right now, guys. Okay. Jared Goff bounces back with a great performance. They throttle the Jaguars just like they're supposed to. And further cement themselves as a real contender for what could be a Super Bowl in Detroit. But let's not get ahead of ourselves, people. That is just one team. It's going to be a bumpy road in the playoffs. We saw what happened last year to them. My number two team, and it sickens me to fucking say it, the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Pittsburgh Steelers, since putting in Russell Wilson and having him as the starting quarterback have looked much better on offense. They have moved the ball much better, much more efficiently. Najee Harris looks like a bat out of hell in the backfield. Now that Jalen Warren is also healthy, he looks like he is running amok every time they switch it up and put Jalen in for Najee after Najee punches your defense in the mouth three times over. They put Jalen in. He looks so fast. And George Pickens is an elite wide receiver talent. And with Russell Wilson at the helm, George Pickens is getting the ball at a much higher efficiency than he was with Justin Fields at the quarterback. So the Pittsburgh Steelers are my number two team. And also their defense. Their defense is nothing to bat a finger at. They are very good. And they come prepared. Another element to the Pittsburgh Steelers, which I've watched Pittsburgh a lot this year, is their special teams. Their special teams and their special teams coordinator, I don't know his name. He just chews a huge wad of gum every Sunday, but he gets that special teams unit prepared for every unit. My number three team, it's going to come as a surprise. The Philadelphia Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles, since coming out of their bye week, have looked like a completely different team. The Philadelphia Eagles have run the ball and really leaned on the run game and Saquon Barkley since coming out of the bye week, and it has taken them to new heights. Their defense also, after just talking about Pittsburgh, the Philadelphia Eagle defense under Vic Fangio has become a very cohesive unit. Don't sleep on Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell, the two rookie corners that they drafted, one out of Toledo, Quinyon, and one out of Iowa, DeJean. Don't sleep on those two. Those two are elite. They are making plays. Quinyon Mitchell shuts down every number one wide receiver right now. Cooper DeJean probably not as good, but like very good when it comes to an NFL perspective. Philadelphia Eagles number three. Number four, the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills with Josh Allen are a threat to anybody. And I think we saw so Sunday with them playing Kansas City. Yes, it was a home game for the Buffalo Bills, though. So that is something to take into account. Josh Allen is playing at an MVP type level. Stephon Diggs is no longer in Buffalo, but What Buffalo does have is a cohesive offensive unit surrounded by several weapons that can make plays on any given play. Curtis Samuel had a great game for the Buffalo Bills this past Sunday. Keon Coleman, who didn't play in this game, has had very big games for the Buffalo Bills as a wide receiver. They traded for Amari Cooper in this game against the Kansas City Chiefs this week. Amari Cooper had two very long catches from Josh Allen, and that is an element that is going to play a big factor when it comes to the playoffs. Dalton Kincaid didn't play this week, but they also have Dawson Knox, who stepped up in a big way and was a very big target for Josh Allen. James Cook as a running back is a very, very big difference maker. Obviously, they had him last year, but I feel like they're more comfortable with giving him the ball in bigger situations. Also, don't sleep on Ray Davis, the backup rookie behind James Cook. He is a very good running back too. And I also left this guy off the list for a reason. Khalil Shakir might be Josh Allen's favorite target. And he can make a play on any play. He juked out one corner so bad that there was I think 12 yards before another Chief came into the screen after he juked out that corner. Khalil Shakir. Also, their defense very underrated, very undervalued. Remember they cleaned house in their defense. No Jordan Poyer, no Micah Hyde. Got rid of Tre'Davious White, and also Matt Milano, their very famous middle linebacker who's been hurt last year and most of this year. He's supposed to come back. This defense is operating at a very high level without their quarterback per se. And my number five team is the Kansas City Chiefs. Even though the Kansas City Chiefs fell off this week, they are still an elite team. Andy Reid gets the boys going on offense every single week, knows holes in whatever team they're attacking, and they attack it in a very efficient manner. I think one thing they need to really clean up is the connection between Patrick Mahomes and Xavier Worthy. Xavier Worthy is a top end, take the top off wide receiver out of Texas this year, runs like a 4.2 40, but that connection between him and Patrick Mahomes just has not been there yet. Patrick Mahomes has led him out of bounds a few times. Xavier Worthy has like fallen out of bounds. You saw it this week in the Buffalo game that he didn't get his feet in bounds on a very key play. Um, there are some things that the Chiefs need to clean up, and when it comes playoff time, I believe those things will be cleaned up. They also have a very elite defense with Chris Jones, Nick Bolton, and those guys on the D. Those are my top five teams right now. All right, let's get into week 11. I've kind of talked about a few games, but big Thursday night game. We had the Commanders and the Eagles. Eagles 26, Commanders 18. This game was very close until what I said earlier. Eagles started leaning on Saquon Barkley in the run game, and their offensive line started to dominate the Washington Commanders defensive line. And Barkley hit those holes as hard as anybody could and was a cannon out of a cannonball firing out of a cannon. Just explosive. No one could catch him on the Commanders defense. On the opposite side of the ball, since I already hyped up the Eagles so much in the opener, the Commanders. Jaden Daniels is very good, but there are things that happen during games that show he is still a rookie. In order to make a deep run in the playoffs, Jaden Daniels is going to have to step up to the plate. One, two, their defense is going to have to stop a run like that in the playoffs in order to advance. And three, they got to clean up some of these dumb turnovers slash I don't know about that fourth down that Dan Quinn had where he goes for it and then Philly drives right down the field and scores. If he kicked the field goal, he would have gone up five, and I don't was it five? Ugh, I can't remember. But there are things that the Commanders need to do in order to solidify themselves as a playoff team, one, because the NFC race is getting very tight. You have one, two, three, four teams sitting at 6-5 or better. um, with four losses at least, and one, two, three teams that are all 5-5. Obviously, bye weeks play a factor that'll even out after week 14, but there is a log jam of good teams right there in the center nucleus of the NFC that all could vie for a playoff position. So dropping these games by Washington is very important. I will say though that win against the Bears will play into them getting into the playoffs, I bet. All right, we'll move on to Sunday. Packers at Bears. Packers 20, Bears 19. This game was to be won by the Chicago Bears. Caleb Williams played a pretty good game. I wouldn't say he played elite. I wouldn't say he played great. He played good enough to one show the Chicago Bears fans that have been questioning that he should be the quarterback or is going to be a good quarterback in the NFL should shut the fuck up. He showed them this past week that they have their guy. I will say with better coaching, he will amount to a much better quarterback. Also, shore up some holes on the offensive line. He's going to look better than he is now. He'll keep you in games though against an elite team like the Packers. Um, Bears had a lead late in this game. Jordan Love had a very, very nice drive to go down the field, score a touchdown, a rushing touchdown by Jordan Love in order to go up 20-19. Bears get the ball back. Caleb Williams drives down the field, gets within field goal range. I think they settled for a 47-yard field goal. My problem with that, they still had timeouts and they could have it was only second down when they attempted the kick. They could have gotten more yards and gotten closer for the field goal. It was reported that the Green Bay Packers were so happy that they were settling for this 47-yard field goal because in film sessions they assessed that Cairo Santos, the Bears kicker, kicked it at a very low trajectory when it was longer field goals because he's not a big leg guy. So he kicks it at a much lower trajectory, like a line drive in baseball, in order to get the ball to the uprights, which is a good strategy. But if your enemy knows your strategy, you're already at a deficit. Obviously, the Packers knew exactly what to expect, got their hands up, and blocked the kick, and the Bears lost. Like I said, if the Bears got a few more yards, properly used their timeouts, maybe that kick goes in, but the Bears have had a tough time beating the Packers the past 6 years. They have not beat the Packers since 2018, and it's going to take a lot for them to become the big brother ever again in this matchup. It's tough to say that they ever were the big brother, but history shows that they were at one point. On to the next game, Jaguars Lions. We talked about this really already. Lions 52, Jaguars 6. Jaguars had a 3-0 lead in this game. Bet you didn't know that. But Jared Goff, four touchdowns. Let me correct myself. Four touchdowns, two to Amon-Ra St. Brown, 11 receptions, 161 yards for Amon-Ra. What a game out of him. David Montgomery also ran for two touchdowns in this one. The Lions could do whatever they wanted on offense. They did not punt, and I don't know how many games this year that the Lions haven't punted, but it's crazy. Jaguars are in a pit of despair. I mean, it sucks having Mac Jones start for you at quarterback while Trevor Lawrence is hurt, so that's like one thing. But like Doug Peterson's doing you no favors right now. He's not. And it's kind of clear that the team is a little bit given up on him at this point. So Jaguars are set for a rebuild. Lions are a Super Bowl contender. This is exactly what you wanted out of the Lions going into this game to kick the absolute piss out of the Jaguars. But two teams on two different sides of the spectrum right now. Next game, Vikings 23, Titans 13. Sam Darnold kind of put to rest the talks of is he turning back into a pumpkin type thing in this game. He played pretty well against a very tough Titans defense. And if you're gonna come at me and say that the Titans don't have a good defense, shut the fuck up. You literally know nothing about football. The Titans have a very good defense, even though they're 2-8. Go look at their fucking quarterback that fucking throws passes with his left hand while he's diving onto the ground. Anyways, Sam Darnold played pretty well in this game, which is good for the Vikings moving forward. Vikings had a tough time running the ball though in this game because the Vikings had a very tough time running the ball in this game because the Titans have a very tough defense. Oh man, it's a tongue twister talking about the Vikings and Titans. Anyways, Titans also another team in a rebuild process. Will Levis obviously doesn't look like the guy. They're solidified. I don't know if they're the number one pick right now or the two. They're up there though. So they're pretty firm in there. Start doing some scouting. Obviously, Callahan looks like he's going to be in it for the long haul as the coach. You fired Mike Vrabel last year. You kind of knew that this was going to be could potentially be what you were going to do leaning into the season. Looks like quarterback is the need for the Titans. All right, next game, Raiders at Dolphins. Another team that's quarterback needy, the Raiders. I feel really bad for Antonio Pierce because I think that I don't know if it's like he showed too many of his cards last year or the roster last year was a little bit better than it was this year. And then like some wheels fell off with Devontae Adams wanting to trade out. But another team that needs a quarterback, and I feel bad that the Raiders might move on from him after this terrible season. I would say give it one more year, get a quarterback in the draft. Sounds like Shadur Sanders really wants to go to Las Vegas. Don't blame him. But on the other side of the ball, we got the Dolphins. Since Tua's come back, the Dolphins have looked much better as a team. Everybody's getting the ball again. Tyreek Hill is getting involved in the offense. Devin Achane is a weapon at running back again. Mike McDaniels can go back to his normal offense. Dolphins look like they're back in the mix. Could play spoiler potentially for teams going into the playoffs, or could sneak in if they just win out. Another fact about the Raiders that I did forgot to mention, Brock Bowers had a huge game in this one. 13 receptions, 126 yards, and a touchdown. Brock Bowers, love him out of Georgia. That big balding man. When he gets implants this summer and his hair starts looking like mine, y'all better be fucking sorry because that's a good looking man. All right? Next game, Rams at Patriots. Rams 28, Patriots 22. Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua back on the offense. Both got a touchdown. Kyron Williams ran rampant again, 15 carries, 86 yards. Stafford had another good day at the office, 4 touchdowns. But don't sleep on Drake May, man. Drake May had the Patriots in this game. Uh, there were there was a potential for a game-tying drive in this one. And Patriots had a better offensive line. Could happen. Did he make some mistakes? Yeah, he's a rookie. But the Patriots, since starting Drake May, have looked so much better as a cohesive team. And I don't really like that because I don't want the Patriots to be happy. But I keep betting on them and I keep winning. Winning. Charlie Sheen. Rams win, move to 5-5. Next game. Browns at Saints. Pitiful. Pitiful. Darren Rizzi, interim coach of the Saints, had them firing on all cylinders. That's a guy that watches tape because I've said it on this podcast before that the Browns defense was susceptible for end arounds. Don't know why, but the Browns defense cannot defend an end around. On one drive, the Saints ran 5 end arounds and scored a touchdown. Unreal. Taysom Hill in this game went berserk, fielding punts, playing quarterback, playing receiver, playing running back. He had 7 carries, 138 yards, and 3 touchdowns. The Browns could not stop Taysom Hill when he got the ball, except for when he threw it, because he threw an interception. One time when he got a reception, he fumbled it. That was the only thing that like Taysom Hill did wrong in this game. Fucking ridiculous, dude. Fucking absolutely ridiculous. That's two times in the last 3 years that the Browns have played the Saints, and Taysom Hill has fucking gaped them in the butthole. Yeah, that's a little vulgar. Sorry. 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 Anyways, Jameis Winston threw for almost 400 yards in this game, and that goes unnoticed. Crazy. Browns are bad, man. Browns are real bad. I'll get more into that covering next week. Ooh, another bad team. Colts at Jets. Colts 28, Jets 27. Ooh, hiccup. Anthony Richardson comes back in to start for the Colts. Looks pretty good. Threw for 66% completion percentage, which is much higher than what we saw with Anthony Richardson prior to him being benched. Also found that happy medium between running it and throwing it. Was also successful on those routes throwing that he was really overthrowing before. Looks like he tweaked some things. Colts, could they make a run with Anthony Richardson? Moving on to the Jets. Jets fired GM Joe Douglas this week. It's all turmoil in New York right now for the Jets. Um, doesn't look good. Aaron Rodgers doesn't seem like he wants to play anymore. Doesn't seem like he wants to be a Jet anymore. I don't know who would want to be in that organization right now with their owner just firing everybody. Um, you do got to tip the cap though, because they made a move that they thought was the right move, which was trade for Aaron Rodgers, who did have an elite season prior to becoming a Jet, and they thought they were a quarterback away from being a Super Bowl contender. It was all we talked about last year is how good the Jets were going to be with how good their defense was and with a competent quarterback at the helm. A lot of questions were around their offensive line. Has that really derailed them? No, because it has played a little bit better this year. The Jets as an overall, I'm gonna, I guess I should just name this episode cohesive unit. The Jets as a cohesive unit are just in shambles right now. Their defense isn't playing as well as it did the last two seasons, and their offense is bleh. Leads to very bad losses and everyone getting fired. Next game, exactly what I thought this game was going to be. Ravens at Steelers. Ravens 16, Steelers 18. The Steelers just have the Ravens number. And you could go look back at when Harbaugh and Tomlin became the head coaches of both teams, and Tomlin has just owned Harbaugh. And it's like been the few years that Harbaugh has had a much better team than Tomlin that he's won. Since Lamar's taken over, he's only beaten the Steelers one time. That's pretty bad. And if you're a Ravens fan, you should be a little nervous with how the Steelers just handled you like that. They got Lamar frustrated, man. They got him frustrated and they got him frustrated early. Derrick Henry has a inexcusable fumble on the first drive of the game when the Ravens were driving down into Pittsburgh territory. Like the Ravens lost this game and didn't give up a touchdown. Think about that. Think about that. Ravens scored two touchdowns. The Steelers scored zero, and the Ravens lost. They also had two missed field goals by Justin Tucker. Obviously, didn't help them. That's now a problem for the Ravens. Like this team that was steamrolling through has had some hiccups lately. One against the Browns, now another against the Steelers. Just some interesting things moving forward for the Ravens. I think their schedule does get a little easier for them, so they could potentially catch up to the Steelers because they do play them again. One and two, the Steelers have to play the Chiefs coming up. Like I said earlier in this podcast, the Steelers are a very good football team, very well coached, and scares me, even though I'm wearing yellow right now. Next game, Falcons at Broncos. The minute last week when I fucking picked the Falcons, I knew I was gonna fucking hate that pick. I am an idiot. Falcons on the road in Denver after they had a heartbreaking loss to the Chiefs. I'm stupid. And I've been so good this year with my picks. I was I that night I fucking hated myself for that one. Anyways, Bo Nix goes off with 4 touchdowns, has a breakout fucking game as a rookie. Do you love to see it? I don't really, because I don't really like the Broncos and I don't really like Sean Payton with the way things turned out in New Orleans. But I do like how there is a team in the AFC West that could rise to the occasion and knock the Chiefs off. Actually, I think there's two teams. We'll get into that. Falcons, I don't know what you are, man. One week you look so good. The next week you look so bad. It would not surprise me if the Buccaneers come back and win this division out of your fucking mega church hands, Kirk Cousins. Next game, Seahawks 20, 49ers 17. I'll let you take that one in. Seahawks upset the Niners in San Francisco. Geno Smith didn't even have his best game, and the Seahawks hung around in this game, hung around in this game. It looked like they just could not get that one drive together that would make them go up on the Niners. And then at the very last second, they do it. And Geno scores a rushing touchdown, puts them ahead. Niners fall. It has been several times this year that the Niners have been able to put away a team, and they have not been able to. I've mentioned it on this podcast a few times that the Niners just look tired, like don't look right. I mentioned all the turmoil that they've been through with the Trent Williams, the Brandon Ayuk, the Brock Purdy stuff. Winning cures all. And and the Debo shoving the punter like 2 weeks ago. It was the long snapper, I know. But the Niners just don't look right. The Seahawks got to hang their hat on a nice win, and they got to ride this momentum into next week. Niners got to really fucking take a gut check. And I know Kyle Shanahan's really good in December, but you can't rely on that. Got 2 more weeks in November. Next game, what I talked about earlier, Chiefs 21, Bills 30. Bills came out of this game firing, picked off Patrick Mahomes on the first drive. They were, it looked like the Bills were going to do exactly what I wanted them to do, was hang a 40 spot on the fucking Chiefs defense that I didn't think was actually that elite. They had just played they got lucky a few times. That's what I'll say. And I think a lot of their stuff has been just luck. I think a lot of teams, when they see that they're playing the Chiefs, like kind of curdle in fear a little bit because they know there's like an impending doom if they aren't up by enough at the end of the game and Patrick Mahomes is on the other sideline, like they know they're going to lose. So they play a little tentative and they want to play perfect, but being that tentative like makes it bad. In the first half, the Bills looked like they were playing loose. They were firing on all cylinders. Obviously, going to the half, only being up 16 to 14 doesn't look great, but this game came down to a drive where the Bills are up two. They're on the Chiefs 20 something yard line, 25, I want to say maybe 20, 27. I think it was a 27. Um, and it's 4th and 2. I think Sean McDermott had to get told to go for it. I'm dead serious, man. In the old days of like the Bills, like the first couple of years of Bills Chiefs, I think Sean McDermott would 100% kick this field goal, thinking that his defense was going to stop Patrick Mahomes. But someone or Sean McDermott has learned, and he now decides to go for it on 4th and 2, and Allen rolls out and decides, fuck it, we ballin', and fucking charges his ass into the end zone to go up 9. Patrick Mahomes, yes, he's on the other sideline, but 9 with only I don't even know if there's a minute left on the clock. Can't remember. But that was a great play. I've watched that play several times over. Josh Allen, like I said, is playing at an MVP type level. I think this year, unless Jared Goff gets it, it's got to be Josh Allen. Those got to be the two favorites right now. Chiefs, you're gonna be fine. I don't fucking care about you. Bills, go get that 1 seed. All right, all right, Bills. Hey, right here, right here. Look at me, look at me. Go get that fucking 1 seed. All right, make everybody have to go through Buffalo. All right. Sunday Night Football, Bengals 27, Chargers 34. Bengals should have won this game. Point blank, period. Chargers in the first half were fucking killing them. They had every answer for Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow would drive down the field and he would not be able to score a touchdown in the red zone, and they would kick a field goal. Second half comes around, Joe Burrow's like, fuck it. We're just gonna fucking throw it to Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. And boy, did they hook up. Joe Burrow comes all the way back, 27-27, has a few drives where the Bengals have the ball and the Chargers couldn't do anything. And Evan McPherson, 2 missed field goals. Two, not one, two. Would have put all the pressure on Los Angeles Chargers. Obviously doesn't happen. Game's coming down to the wire. Chargers get the ball back, drive right down the field, J.K. Dobbins touchdown. Go up 34-27. Joe Burrow's got 18 seconds left. Can't score a touchdown. Jim Harbaugh's a great coach. He's not fucking Matt Eberflus and gonna let up a Hail Mary. Bengals. Man, that sucks. They have lost so many games like this year. And Joe Burrow, I just mentioned MVP with Josh Allen, Jared Goff coming out of my mouth. Joe Burrow should be in that conversation, man. Joe Burrow has played at such a fucking high level this year and is putting up ridiculous stats. And he's not even going to be talked about in the MVP conversation because his team is 4-7. That sucks. Chargers, they're the real deal, man. I knew it when Jim Harbaugh took that head coaching job. Chargers are going to be a problem, and they're going to be a problem for years to come. Oh yeah. Monday Night Football, Texans 34, Cowboys 10. I didn't watch a single second of this game, and I told everyone on this podcast that there was no fucking chance that the Cowboys cover 7.5 points. Damn, look who's right. Joe Mixon had 3 touchdowns. That's all I got to report out of this game. All right, second down. Second down is presented by this cup of tequila, and this cup is, if you can see it, there's engravings on it, and it is a map of the North in Game of Thrones. Yeah, I'm a nerd. I don't fucking care. I don't fucking care. I do this podcast for you guys, and I just like talking about sports. Okay, Thursday Night Football. Steelers at Browns. I might have to refill my drink in order to talk about this game. I might have to refill my drink. I'm thinking about it, guys. I'm thinking about it. If you can't tell, I have like a cold right now too. Tomorrow is the game. It's supposed to be 40 degrees and rainy. Listen, guys, let's get serious here. The Steelers are playing at a Super Bowl contender level. The Browns are not. They're bad, very bad. They also just lost their left tackle for the season, Dewan Jones. Obviously, that wasn't our starting left tackle coming into the season. We thought it was going to be Jedrick Wills, but everybody knows Jedrick Wills sucks. So they replaced him with Dewan Jones, and Dewan Jones has actually filled a void that we really needed since Joe Thomas has retired in 2018. Anyways, I don't know. But I think that if the Browns lose this game in an embarrassing fashion on Thursday Night Football in front of the whole country, because obviously it's a nationally televised game, if they lose this game in an embarrassing fashion, this is probably the last game that Kevin Stefanski coaches for the Browns. Do I think that that's the right decision? I don't know, but I think that's the gut reaction decision. It's been a bad loss season after a trip to the playoffs last year, and they don't even look like the same team they were a year ago, like at all. Defensively, offensively, special teams. And they changed up a lot of their staff this offseason, and you can tell. You can tell that this fucking new staff sucks. Andy Dickerson, the offensive line coach, he fucking sucks. Bubba Ventrone, the fucking special teams coordinator that everybody was like hyped about, he fucking sucks. Special teams for the Browns look so bad this season. And that's also to say that like the last couple of years with Mike Prefier, it wasn't great, but it was better than it is this year with fucking Bubba Ventrone. I don't even remember our wide receivers coach fucking name, but he fucking sucks too. Our wide receivers don't progress at all. It's part of the reason why I think Amari Cooper wanted to be out. Most of the reason being Deshaun Watson. But there's been a tendency with Browns head coaches over the I think it's the last eight head coaches after the Browns lose to the Steelers at home that they get fired. Steelers are our bitter rival, and and like all Steelers fans are like, "Oh, you're our little brother." That's fine. I'll be the little brother, but you got to fucking own up to the fact that like the last 6 years we've gone like 1-1 with you guys. It's not really been, oh, it's the Browns on the schedule, 2 wins. Hasn't been that the last couple of years. And saying couple, that's like two or three. No, it's been like that since like 2017, if I'm being honest. Fucking, I don't know, guys. Uh, I've made passes that I think Mike Vrabel should be the head coach, but I'm not really sure because then I feel like our offense will probably just tank, like just not look anywhere near as good as it could be. In my ideal world, Browns ask Kevin Stefanski to step down as head coach, or welcome in and be half head coach. I don't know what that is, but be the offensive coordinator. Kevin Stefanski becomes the offensive coordinator, and Mike Vrabel is the head coach, and Jim Schwartz is our defensive coordinator, and some guy on the street is our special teams coordinator, not Bubba Ventrone. That's my ideal world. Obviously, Bubba Ventrone could win back my good graces, but that's probably not likely. Steelers, you guys are so fucking good. Oh, the spread for this game, 3.5. Don't know how the spread's only 3.5. It's wild. All right, Sunday night, Sunday football. Vikings, Bears. Vikings are 3.5 point favorites away in Chicago after Chicago was just played the Packers pretty tough. This could be a give up the season, give up the ship type game for the Bears. I thought that was what last week was going to be, but it wasn't, obviously. They should have won that game. Not really sure what you're going to get out of the Bears this week, but I know the Vikings are going to come prepared and solidify with their position in the NFC so that they can go to the playoffs. Lions at Colts. Lions are playing another opponent, or Lions -7. Lions are playing another opponent that they should beat the piss out of. The Colts defense has not been great this year after losing a couple key pieces in free agency. Um, Another opponent in the Lions warpath way. Next game, little interesting. Patriots, Dolphins. Dolphins are 7.5 point favorites, and I don't really know why. I think I might take the Patriots plus the points. Dolphins have looked much better since Tua's come back. I will give them that, like I said earlier, but Patriots have been playing well too. 7.5 points is a lot of points. Next game, Buccaneers at Giants. Buccaneers are 6 point favorites on the road against the Giants, who are now starting Tommy DeVito. Daniel Jones is out at quarterback. I don't know what that's going to do for the Giants. That could be really bad. Bucks and Giants both coming off a bye in that one too. Think about that. Cowboys, Commanders. Commanders are 10 point favorites against the Cowboys. Who would have fucking thought, man? All the wheels are coming off in Dallas. Wouldn't surprise me after this game that no, they'll let Mike McCarthy coach this Thanksgiving Day game. Wouldn't surprise me after Thanksgiving, Mike McCarthy is fired. Next game, Chiefs, Panthers. Chiefs are 10.5 point favorites at Panthers. Panthers have played a lot better, and they also had a bye week last week, which I don't know how much you guys buy into buys, but I buy into buys. And I don't know, I remember the stat, but Patrick Mahomes has not been able to cover a double-digit spread in a very long time. The Panthers have been playing tough, man. Next game, Titans, Texans. Texans are 7.5 point favorites. I guess I understand because the Texans should win this game by 7.5, but they just have not looked as crisp as they were in like the first 4 weeks of the season. It really comes down to Nico Collins being out for them. Ever since Nico's gone down, they just haven't looked like that great on offense. Their defense has been playing well. Hats off to D'Amico Ryan's head coach, but Texans 7.5 is a lot, especially against a very good Titans defense that we talked about earlier. Broncos at Raiders. Broncos are 6 point favorites. Um, could be a letdown spot for Bo Nix after torching the Falcons last week. Maybe the little road trip will trip them up, but Broncos 6. Yeah. All right. Next game. This is probably the big game. It's probably why Cole isn't on the podcast today. He's probably running, thinking about this one over and over again because the 49ers and the Packers play this week at 425. Packers are 2 point favorites at home. The 49ers have owned the Packers the past 8 years. And that's not to say that the Packers haven't won a few. They have. But in the microcosm of things, the 49ers have just beaten the Packers. They just know how to do it. Kyle Shanahan, little brothers, fucking Matt LaFleur. And also, the 49ers, like I mentioned earlier, have to take a gut check. Like, who the fuck is this team right now? They look tired. They're in a Super Bowl slump, and they just don't even look like the same team they were last year. Packers, Jordan Love needs to stop throwing interceptions, dude. He puts them in such bad spots. It's either a red zone interception or he's throwing an interception on his own 20-yard line. Like, there's no in between. It's fucking infuriating to watch. And it's not even like he's throwing it to his wide receiver and the defender makes a good play. He's throwing it right at the defender. Like, these are boneheaded fucking mistakes. This is the Jordan Love that I saw the first 8 weeks of the season last year. Then the last 10 weeks of the season coming down the stretch, going into the playoffs, he looked like fucking Tom Brady. He's got to clean that shit up if the Packers are going to go fucking anywhere. They're in a tight race for the NFC wild card right now. Can they catch the Lions? I don't think so. They got another game against them, but they're still 2 games back. Got to start making moves if you're the Packers. Jordan Love's got to start playing better because you're probably going to have to go on the road in the playoffs. Cardinals at Seahawks. Big game for the fucking NFC West. Arizona's 1 point favorites over the Seahawks away. Seahawks got a very nice win last week. Would not surprise me if they fucking throw up a dud this week and the goddamn Cardinals boat race them. Sunday Night Football, good game. Eagles at Rams. Eagles are 3-point favorites. Rams, last 2 weeks haven't been the best. You squeaked one out against the Patriots, and then on Monday Night Football the prior week, lost against the Dolphins. Eagles have looked like a very good team, slash probably the second best team in the NFC. This could be a loss for the Eagles. That's all I'm saying. Monday Night Football, the Harbaugh Bowl. Ravens at Chargers. Ravens are 3-point favorites. Chargers. That was the first time that they had let up 20 points on defense. Their defense is very, very good. Lamar Jackson, they were averaging, I think, 31 points a game until they played Pittsburgh this past week, where they only scored 16. Could we see a bounce back from Lamar, or will the Chargers be able to contain him just like the Steelers did the prior week? This is big brother, little brother football. We've mentioned it a few times in this game. Big brother, little brother. This is actual big brother, little brother. John's the big brother, by the way, even though Jim's bigger. Um, we also got 6 teams on bye this week. At least I was able to do this podcast pretty well and without anything, and not as many games I have to cover by myself. All right. Third down, best sneakiest matchup. Cole's not here. Best matchup. I think I already talked about this one. Best matchup. I think it's this Monday Night Football game, man. Ravens at Chargers. The Harbaugh Bowl. Come on. Jim Harbaugh, John Harbaugh. Tom Crean's probably going to be in the crowd because he's their brother-in-law. Yeah, two very good teams. Also, both vying for a AFC wildcard spot. I don't think either one will be able to catch their division leader right now. We'll see what happens and it play out. But as the way it stands right now, I don't think they'll be able to catch them. Sneakiest matchup. I'm looking at 3 good ones right now. I think the sneakiest matchup. Let's take Eagles Rams. I think there could be a lot of points in that game. A lot of star-studded talent on both teams. Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Saquon Barkley. Then you move over to the Rams, and you got Stafford, Kyron Williams, Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua. Two star-studded offenses going at it on Sunday Night Football. Chris Collinsworth saying, "Now here's a guy," and Mike Tirico just being a big fat fucking turtle. I hate that fucking square-headed fuck. All right, fourth down. Lock of the week and upset of the week because Cole loves to correct me on that. All right. Cole last week, he had as his lock the Lions. Great pick by him. He moves to 6-5. He's staying the same. He's staying with the Lions. That's his lock of the week. My lock of the week last week was the Dolphins. Pretty good pick. They won. Now I moved to 7-4 on the year. My lock of the week. Hmm. My lock of the week to be opposite of Cole or different from Cole. Give me the Buccaneers because that's just a fun one. All right. Upset of the week, he's got the Niners because he hates his Packers. Um, Upset of the week for me, it's an easy one. Not really. I'll take the Rams to upset the Eagles. All right, that's fourth down. Moving into our pick six each. Cole's first pick is Lions -7. All right, I'll start at the top. Give me. Do I want to take them? No. Give me the Dolphins. Nope. Give me the Patriots +7.5. +7.5. All right, next pick. Cole took the 49ers +2. I'll take the Buccaneers to cover 6. Probably a stupid pick, but I don't know why, but I like it. Next, he took the Vikings -3.5. I'll take. Man. Broncos -6. His fourth pick, Cole took Eagles -3. All right, fuck it. I'll take the opposite. Rams +3. He took the Panthers +10.5. I'll join him on that one. Panthers +10.5. Commanders -10 is his final pick. I think I'm going to take the Chargers to cover 3 as my final pick. Chargers. I spelled Chargers wrong, but it's fine. +3. Cover the points. All right. That is our pick 6 of the week. Let's move into anytime touchdown scores. Anytime touchdown scores is brought to you by Xbox. Not really. I'm just looking at an Xbox controller. Um, anytime touchdown scores. Give me Terry McLaurin to score against the Cowboys, and give me Brock Bowers to score a touchdown against the Broncos. All right, that's pick 6. College football. College football's been good. I think there's about 15 teams vying for the 12-team playoff right now. Somebody's going to get left out. We got some big time matchups coming up this weekend. We got Indiana visiting Ohio State. I think that's number 3 against number 5 right now. Indiana undefeated. The storybook Cinderella story, them having this season. What a ride. It will be so crazy if they beat Ohio State in Ohio, or the the shoe. Yeah. Um, be so nuts for them. Also, what a great story. I said that I don't know how many times. Who else? Colorado is now like back in position to potentially be in the college football playoff with BYU losing. They obviously will have to win the Big 12 championship in order to get there, just by strength of schedule and things like that. SMU, Miami, Clemson all vying for that ACC spot. Miami losing a big one to Georgia Tech 2 weeks ago. They got another game. I think they're playing Syracuse this week. Might be Wake Forest. I don't know who SMU's got, but it's something to look out for. SEC is a fucking shitstorm right now. You've got Texas with one loss against Georgia, but Texas hasn't beaten anybody. And then you have all these teams with 2 losses in the SEC: Georgia, Ole Miss, Alabama, Texas A&M, and Tennessee, all with 2 losses. All two losses against almost each other, but a few of them have kind of slipped up. Like Alabama lost to Vanderbilt, Ole Miss lost to Kentucky and LSU, two not so good losses anymore. Tennessee lost to Arkansas, bad loss, lost to Georgia this past week, and Georgia slipped up against Ole Miss and Alabama earlier in the season. Georgia's probably, I'm not gonna lie, probably they should be the best team in the country right now. Like it pisses me off that they don't have a better record. They played poorly in the 2 games they lost. They played poorly in some other games. But this game against Tennessee, they really put it on them. And they put it together. And if they keep playing like this for the stretch here, I think they could potentially win the national championship. Oregon, obviously undefeated, probably going to win out. Not sure about that Big Ten championship, but Oregon's probably like their biggest test, maybe, if not Ohio State. We'll see what happens to them this week against Indiana. But Georgia kicking the shit out of Texas and kicking the shit out of Tennessee, having a close loss against Alabama, which in the first half of that game they couldn't have played any worse. Like literally couldn't play any worse. And then they made a comeback, and that game became one of the best college football games you've ever seen in the last quarter. Alabama losing to Vanderbilt, not great. Jalen Milroe's kind of gone on a tear in the last couple of games. Obviously, the game against LSU, he fucking ran wild. So you never know what you're going to get out of Alabama. Ole Miss's front four could fucking wreak havoc on anybody. Then again, they could get into a game like they got into against LSU, where they drove down the field several times, missed some field goals, settled for some field goals instead of gone for touchdowns, and they lose. You also could look at that Kentucky game where they literally couldn't get anything going on offense. Tennessee, their offense has been very fucking like miscue, miscue, miscue. Besides that one game, what, against Kent State early in the year when they put up 60? Yeah, that's fucking nothing, dude. But this college football season is going to come down to the wire. It's going to be fucking crazy. Army's got a big game this weekend too against Notre Dame. Hopefully Army can win it for the United States of America and fuck those goddamn. I hate Notre Dame. I hate Notre Dame. But thank you all for listening. That has been another episode of MnM Going Deep, where I do it alone and cover everything. And yeah, just been a fun one with you guys. Let's ride this season out together, holding hands. You guys keep listening, and I love it. I love it. I love talking to you guys, whether it be two of you, 100 of you, 1,000 of you, or 20 million. I'll keep doing this. Keep listening. It'll get better. We're a low budget podcast right now. It'll go up from here. Let's finish off this tequila for you guys. You have a great night. Happy Wednesday. Go Brownies.